What's going on, everybody? So I want to do a quick update on some of the stuff I have seen recently when it comes to more movies as of late. Don't know how long this part of the video will be, so it will probably most likely be its own separate thing. But yes, one of the more recent things I did see is The Creator, finally. I know that came out pretty much maybe like August or September of 2023, and I was really interested in going to see it, but just didn't have enough time around there and didn't really hear like the greatest reviews. It was a little bit more like 50-50 ish and very ambitious of a movie, but just didn't hit with a bunch of critics out there. And that's not usually like where I kind of say a yes or no to a movie I'm gonna watch if the Rotten Score tomatoes or whatever like that. I kind of just go in and decide which ones I'm interested in, and that one I wasn't able to go see while I was in theaters, and then it just sort of barely came out within the last month or so on Hulu was where I watched it. So yes, it's pretty much, they say it's like AI and what would happen eventually, but is it really AI if it's like the robots? I guess it's the technology inside of the robot, which is basically they created an artificial intelligence. They put in robots to basically help out with everything, whether it's working in factories or even like in a hospital as well, helping deliver babies, whatever, stuff like that. But apparently, according to the story, when you find out, there's like a big nuclear bomb that went off in Los Angeles, and they pretty much, the Western world, believe that it was the AI that did that, and they have stopped using it completely. But then they know there's a lot of parts of Asia, or New Asia as they call it, because it's like 2065 or something like that, way into the future, that they're still using it and still believe that the robots slash AI are still capable of good. And they didn't believe, I don't know if they really say they don't believe that they officially executed that bombing, but I think they just have like a bit of a more deeper meaning and feeling with the robots, because it is part of them and part of their culture more, I guess. But overall, it is a really good movie in my opinion. It's like a little over 2 hours, but didn't really feel like a slow paced or anything like that. I really liked the main actor, John David Washington, in there, of course, from Tenet fame. But yes, I did like the director as well, and Gareth Edwards, who, if I did not watch Rogue One, which he did that one Star Wars movie, he directed that one, because a lot of like the action scenes, and because it kind of takes place in a tropical Asian-esque area, a lot of the action scenes, even in this one, kind of look like they could have been, copycats or copied from Rogue One as well. So it kind of was jarring at first, but I did enjoy some of the other stuff and a lot of the other acting in there as well, and a lot of the technology, the way it looks like some of like the half robots, half human lookalikes. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. Obviously, it's a sci-fi film, and we're obviously way too uncivilized or premature to be having this type of technology around. But obviously, always that big conversation of what AI is and how dangerous it can and probably will be in the way future. But we're probably not going to be around to see it anyway, so who cares, right? But either way, I thought it was a pretty enjoyable film in my opinion. And yeah, overall, I did like it, so I would recommend it if you are interested in a sci-fi action, little bit of a drama thriller like that. And then another little bit of a more pick-me-up sports comedy movie was Next Goal Wins, directed by one of my favorite directors in Taika Waititi, where it's pretty much based off this documentary of the same name, Next Goal Wins, where there's an American Samoa soccer team, a national soccer team, that pretty much suffered the worst loss in FIFA history, where it was like 31-0, something like that. I think it was against Australia or one of those southern countries. But yeah, it was one of the worst losses, and pretty much that whole entire community was pretty down because their team was never good, and I don't think they had ever won in like forever, even scored a goal in forever. But they basically get a brand new coach that was pretty much forced there because he was fired from another job that he did have coaching a soccer team, and pretty much had to do all this stuff himself and try to bring up all these guys, and they have different, obviously, beliefs. Like they don't really push themselves as hard. It's a lot more laid back in that area, and he just had to figure it out. So it's like a lot of conflicting things, but throughout the whole thing, it's really funny. Obviously, if you're into Taika Waititi humor, you'll like it a lot, and obviously a feel-good sports movie as well. Won't give away the ending, and if they do win or score again, but there is a pretty big game towards the end, which is very cool to see. And there is also part of half of the story is that soccer team and them coming back and trying to be good enough, and then also them having I think it was the first time a player was a transgender on their team as well, even back all the way in, I think it was 2011, 2012, something like that. So I really want to see the documentary to see how that was, and obviously they made history with that, having them on their team, which is pretty cool. But overall, I think the movie could have, it's either or, because like, I think maybe Taika Waititi wasn't the best person to be able to do this, because he kind of at times maybe joked about it at times, or just kind of threw it away and went off to something else that was funny to kind of change the mood or tone, even though he did do Jojo Rabbit, which was about Nazis and obviously during World War II and Hitler, and that was obviously acclaimed and really good. He was able to do a little bit of this, like a lot more 50-50 with the humor and a lot more drama, but here it was definitely, let's try to make more of a comedy and throw this some serious stuff here and there, and a lot of it was a bit hit or miss when it was trying to do more of the drama / serious stuff, but I did understand the intent. And I think even in an interview he said he kind of had this movie for a while where he was constantly editing it and didn't know exactly what type of film he wanted to do, and obviously probably would have changed it in the end if he had more time. But overall, if you're still looking for a really feel-good sports movie, see with a team from the depths and see what they can do to rise up again, I think it's definitely a good flick. And if you're looking for a funny comedic film as well, I definitely think people will enjoy that. And then just tonight, did see this movie called Past Lives, where I totally forgot from the trailer that it was pretty much all subtitled, like 85% in Korean. But either way, I thought, even just reading most of it, I thought it was one of the better written screenplays that I have seen so far in this 2023. At least, I didn't even know this movie was nominated for 2 Oscars as well. Not only for Best Picture, but then also for Screenplay, which was obviously not surprising once I was watching the film. But overall, I think it's pretty much where these 2 kids, a guy and a girl, they're really good friends, and then the girl's family decides to migrate to Canada and decide to live out there instead of in Korea, so they kind of lose their friendship, and then about 12 years later, they end up reconnecting and having like a semi-online long-distance relationship, because she's moved down into the U.S. in New York, and he's still out there in Korea. But they kind of do like an online thing, and then it kind of just ends because they feel like they need to focus more on their careers and all that stuff, which is obviously understanding. But then they both move on. They both get into different relationships, but then they meet another 12 years later where he decides to finally go and visit her in America. And obviously by now she's already married to another American guy, and he kind of was still cool with it, to say, hey, it's one of your best friends from a long time ago, especially at a tough time in your life when you were moving and migrating from another country. So might as well just let you guys hang out, see what happens. And I won't give it away what happens, but there is obviously hints that there could be somewhat of a lost relationship, or these 2 people were soulmates and meant to be together, and they finally found each other every single time, like every 12 years, all of a sudden they were struck with each other again. So I'll just leave it at that, because the ending is a bit more of like, you're either okay with the ending or it's like you're upset at it. So I'll just let everyone else find that out for themselves. But either way, I did enjoy this as well. Like I said, I didn't even know it was nominated and all that stuff for that, but definitely very happy that I did see it and looked at it. And if you don't mind reading for most of the movie, I still think it is a really nice script to read along as you're watching a lot of stuff during the movie. So check it out if you're into that. Thanks for watching, people. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.